Good morning, everyone. It's Hayes with CheatSheetPros.com. Today is Tuesday, December 27th, and we are going to go through the NBA slate tonight. There's 10 games. I picked the first 3 games, and we're going to build a same-game parlay, look at some player props, and we're going to build one that pays 10 to 1. I'm also going to give you some legs that will allow you to drive this up or take it down lower if you want to play a little safer. You might not like one of the legs or one of the players I have in there. That's fine. Kick them out. The best thing about same-game parlays is you can use alt lines as opposed to prize picks where you only have one line and you have to pick over or under, and honestly, those lines are pretty tight. So if you have access to a sports book such as DraftKings or FanDuel where you can build these SGPs, that's a same-game parlay, they are a lot of fun because you can mix alt lines and you can move that up or down. So we're going to take a look at some. I wrote an article yesterday and used a bunch of screenshots and typed it out. And honestly, it took me about 2.5 hours. So I would rather make a video where I can walk through and just kind of talk you through it. So for the people that see the articles, you got one yesterday. For the people that want to watch the videos, you're going to get one today. I'm off work all week, so you'll probably see a lot of content when my kids aren't running around screaming and asking me to do stuff for them. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, first of all, I want to go ahead and thank Jessica and the group. With her help, we were able to bring in NFL players and NBA players' game logs and have them updated daily. That's been a tremendous help. And this is the first year we've really had this huge boost on our cheat sheet because now we have all these game logs. DraftKings and FanDuel's getting legalized in states like crazy. In my state, it was legalized in September of last year, so right before football season, and so that was very exciting for me. Very addicting for a same-game parlay. So I'm going to look through the first 3 games on the 10-game slate today. I'm just doing 3 games for the purposes of this video to show you how I look at things. I had one member last week ask me, about projections. I don't like projections. I don't use projections. The only thing I look at for projections is projected minutes. I hate the way they're combined. And just to rant a little bit about projections, if you see any professional DFS players, what they do is they build their own projections. They project their own minutes. And they don't just go to Fantasy Cruncher and go optimize lineup. I like this guy. They really dig in deep and, they build 50, 100, 150 lineups a night or some for each slate, and it's very exhausting. So for this, I'm just looking at projected minutes, but what I like to do, especially for player props, if you're on prize picks or if you're looking at same-game parlays, is I go into game logs. I want to see, what have they done recently? Are they trending up? Are they trending down? Are they playing more minutes? Was it a fluke game? And typically, I would always have ESPN up and I'd be looking at game logs, and it was exhausting. So when I built this sheet, I was able to go, boom, I've got everything here. I've got our player. I even put our fantasy salaries there for the people who are playing. We have our current projections for these stats, and then we have the last 7 games with the dates, the result, who they played, and then all of these stats across the top. So it's been a lot of fun. And then what you'll notice today on the 27th when I posted the sheet this morning, I added this little column right here. Now what's good about this is it just takes these last 4 games and gives you a quick average, and then it has the difference. So the green are going to be the ones who are trending up and the red are trending down, and that's going to help us quickly find some plays. And as always, if you're new or you haven't seen this sheet before, over here on the left side, you'll see this nugget is gone. When you click in there, it opens up, and then you have a drop down and you can flip through all of these games and it lists all of the players. They are in order. There's, I believe we did 10 players, and it's minutes, projected minutes. So top one's down. So stay in the top 3 to 5 guys when you're looking at player props unless you want to get real crazy. So the first game on the slate today we have is going to be Orlando and the Lakers. Nope, that's the second game. Actually, let's go ahead and start here. We're going to look at the Orlando and Lakers game. So we're looking at the 7-game logs now. Real quick, one thing I'm looking at is this column right here. I want to see, and here, let me do a little screenshot so I can circle stuff for you. That'll make it a little bit easier. And so quickly, what I'm looking at is this column right here. I want to see, are there any drastic differences anywhere across here. Now, some of the things that jump out at me, Franz Wagner, plus 4.5. So this is one that we are going to take a look at. So looking at Franz Wagner, let's start with him. So right now on DK, 16 plus points is minus 245, or you could go up to 20 plus points at plus 105. I like anything in that range. You can see he's put up 20, 25, 19, 12, 19, 24, 23. So if you do 20 plus points, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the last 7 games. So a little better than 50%. But for the sakes of our parlay, I'm going to put in 16 plus points. So Franz Wagner over 15.5 points. He's projected at 15, but he's averaging 19.3 over the last game. So if we're looking at 16 or more points, he's got over, under, over. So I want to give myself some cushion. So he's 6-1 for the over. And the other thing I like down here is the minutes. So you can see he's projected for 33. He's averaging 32.5. So I want to look across here and see, is his minutes consistent? Well, he's got a low of 31 and a high of 36. So for us saying he's going to play 30 minutes and be on the court for 30 minutes, I feel pretty good about that looking at his last 7 logs and the amount of points he's scored. So Franz Wagner over 16 points is what I'm going to put in for our parlay. If you want to go up to 20, he's been real close to that. That's a little high, but that'll get you plus 105. I don't love it, but I don't mind it. I'd prefer that if you're only going to do 2 or 3 legs from this single game. But for the sakes of our big parlay, we're just going to take Franz to score 16 points. So over 15.5, 16 would be a winner. Now, Austin Reeves down here, he's the next guy that jumped out at me. And you'll see this 7.8. So that's a huge one. He's projected at 10 points, but he's scored 18 over the last 4 games. But you can see he didn't play these 2 games, so it's really just the average of these 2. So you have to understand how some of these are connected. So 16 points in 29 minutes, 20 points in 29 minutes. So these last 2 games, he's taken a lot more shots. He's been more efficient. Now you can see back here, he's played more minutes, but he had less points. He's been kind of sporadic all over the place. He had 4 points and then jumped to 16 and then 12. And then, 16's kind of like his average where he's at. And then he had a game of 20. So I like this where he had 2 games back where he was out. And then 16 and 20. So 36 points over the last 2 games. With Anthony Davis out, maybe he's taking some more shots. I am not an expert at basketball. I can't tell you for sure, but I do like his points over. So when I see something like that, I want to go to DraftKings or Prize Picks or my sports book and say, okay, what's his line at? Now, if his line's 12, I'm probably going to say, that's okay. I don't mind it, but it's a little bit more risky. If it's like 13.5, that's probably what I would guess Prize Picks would put it at because they're right on that number where it could go either way. So for the sakes of our parlay, you can do 12 or more points. So over 11.5 is plus 110. So he's done that in 4 straight games. But again, that doesn't give us a lot of cushion because he was only over it by 0.5 point on the 18th and then squeaked over it by a basket or 2 on some of the other days. So what I prefer for our parlay is you can take over 8.5 points. So he's only got to score 9 points at minus 260, and that's going to be the second part of this game. So we have Franz Wagner, 16 plus points, and then Austin Reeves, 9 plus points. So those are the first 2 we're going to put in. And again, you can bump those up if you prefer one guy over the other. And then we're going to go with Steady Eddie up here, LeBron James. This 8.3 jumps out. He's projected at 26. The last 4 you can see he's averaging 34.3 points, so a significant amount over. But look at this. 38, 34, 31, 33, 30, 33. So it's pretty safe to say LeBron's probably going to score 30 points. Well, 30 points is minus 150, but I don't like that because that puts us right there. So I could see him ending with 28 or 29, just missing that. And when you put that many legs together and you're that close, you don't have a good margin of error. So for the sakes of the parlay, I'm going to drop this baby down to over 24.5 or 25 plus points, however your book lists it. And that jumps it to minus 450. But when we put in the Reeves, the Franz, and then we take LeBron down to 25 points, that gives us plus 145. So that's a pretty good plus money to start our parlay. And then you could go at the plus 145, but I love Banchero, and I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but this dude, when DK first started, every night I would just throw 10, 20 bucks on Banchero to score over 19.5 points, and he was just money, just boom, 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 which you can see here, 20, 20, 20. I mean, that's pretty much what he's done most of the season. And then these last 4 games, he has a couple where he's under at 18, 18, 23, a 31, a bunch of 20s. So he typically puts up 18 to 20 points a game. That's pretty safe to say. Not a huge margin, but he's 3.3 over his projected number. So he's projected at 19. He's averaging 22.5 over the last 4 games. So if we drop this down just to kind of drive this plus 140 up, or plus 145, we can put Banchero over 15 points, which you can see he's done in every one of these games. So he's on a 7-0 run to score over 14.5. And that drives this from plus 145 to plus 190. So this is going to be the first leg that we put in our parlay as plus 190. So I like it because we've got 2 players from each side. We've got the top scorer and then kind of the second or third scorer that plays a lot of minutes. They're going to be on the court for 25 to 30 minutes. So again, LeBron, 25 or more points. Banchero, 15 plus points. Austin Reeves, 9 plus points. Franz Wagner, 16 plus points, plus 190. Now you can bet that 1 unit to win 1.9, so it's almost 2 to 1 if you want to do it, or we can keep going and we can add to it. So let's keep going and add to it. Now we're going to go... Dude! Hey, quit itching. Sorry, that's my 85-pound Labradoodle that's very itchy right now. So I'm going to flip over here to the Philadelphia game. So Philadelphia and Washington is actually the first game that was on the slate. And this is one that jumped out at me, but I'm going to go pretty conservative here because there's a lot of the top scorers and not a lot once you get deeper into this game. So let's go ahead and make a screenshot. We're going to blow this up to where you guys can see it. So real quick, the 2 pieces I'm going to do this is I'm going to take Embiid and I'm just going to do something real simple, 20 plus points, and then I'm going to take Bradley Beal, 20 plus points. Now I can put these 2 together and the odds are stupid, but when you put them together, it takes it down to minus 215. So that's a pretty safe leg. I don't have to spend a lot of time on this game. For each of them to score 20 points, Beal's done that in each of the last 4 games. 25 would give you a better odds number, which he's done in 3 of 4 and missed 1. But just to be safe, I'm going to go 20 points. If he scores 19, I'll take the loss. Embiid, 25 is a good number. He scored 35, 44, 22, 28, 34, 31, 53. So this is someone that you could look at to max. And when I say max, DK typically gives you a much higher number at huge plus money. Let me see if I wrote his down. I did not on there. So for the sakes of our 10 to 1 parlay, we're just going to take Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, just each score over 19.5 points or 20 points. They're both averaging well over that. That's a safe leg. Put them together. It takes you down to minus 215. The reason I didn't go any higher on Beal is because Porzingis down here, he's kind of all over the place. He missed these 2 games. He came back here and only scored 7, but then he had a bunch of 20-point games. And I'm worried about when Kuzma, Beal, and Porzingis are all on the floor, how these points are going to disperse. Because originally, you look at Kuzma up here, plus 6.6, plus 7.8 on his PRA, and I'm like 32, 21, 29, 22. But Porzingis only had 7 points in this game, and Kuzma had 32. Well, that's not always going to be the case. And then these 2 games where Porzingis had 20 points, he dropped down to 22 and 17. So that worried me a little bit. So I want to see some more data with all 3 of them on the floor. But Beal, regardless, he's a shooting guard. He's going to do much better. And then Embiid, you know, he's the stud on the team. He's always going to do it. If you want to drive this one up, one of the ones you can look at. Now, when you look here, what do you see? So you see this green right here, Harden assist. He's projected at 8. 12.5 is what he's averaging. Harden assist is another one that you can max. So typically if you do Harden assist, Embiid points, they work together. Sometimes they both hit the max. That's just one of the constant bets that I always do for a single unit. But look at his assists, 13, 21, 8, 8, 9, 15, and 16. You can add this to your parlay. You can take over 7.5 and take it from minus 215. I didn't write down what it drops it down to, but it would give you a better odds. But for the sakes of this, I just did Beal and Embiid for now. I may do something with Harden assists later. It's just not one that jumped out at me. So that's looking at that game. And let's go look at the third game. So basically what I want you guys to do is understand what all these numbers are, how to look at the game logs, and then I put this in here today so we could quickly see the people who have been trending up or trending down, and you can even look and see if there's been changes in minutes. It highlights green if it's positive, and it goes red if it's negative, and then down from there. So let's go look at this Boston-Houston game. Boston is typically a game that I always want to get involved in just because there are significant scorers, and you can tell exactly who they are going to be, and then the only question is how much are they going to score. So the top guy is going to be Jason Tatum right here. And one thing that should jump out at you like a sore thumb is this 10.2. So he's projected at 27 points. And again, that's why I don't like projections. Over the last 4, he's averaged 37.3 points. Look at this. 41, 30, 41, night off, 31, 44, and then a 20 game. But, I mean, 30-plus points in 5 straight games, and he's broke 43 times. Now, one of the things when we talk about maxing it on DK, for the sakes of our parlay, I'm going to put Jason Tatum over 24.5 points, minus 340. That's what I'm going to put in for the leg. But if you want to max this, 40 or more points, so over 39.5, pays plus 650. And he's done that in 2 of the last 3 and 3 of the last 5 games. Now, he's not getting way over that, but he's just squeaking over it. Squeaked it over there by 1.5, 1.5, 4.5. So if you wanted to take a shot at that, you definitely could. And I'll show you kind of what that does with the odds. So for the sakes of our parlay, we're just going to take Tatum to score 25 points. He does it, 80-85% of the time on the season. He's the top scorer on the team. There's nothing that's really going to change. I'm good with that. If he ends up scoring 24 or 19, I'll just take the loss on my unit. So Jason Tatum over 24.5 points. Now, you go over here and you look at Brown. Now, Brown, we only see the 1.6 difference here, projected at 25. He's averaging 27, so that's pretty consistent. So 29, 36, 19. What I don't like is he dips down here to 21, dips down here to 19, and then he has a couple big games, so he's a little bit more sporadic. But when I went to DraftKings and I looked it up, for Brown to score 20 points, which he barely did and had been over and then squeaked over and went way over a few times, the odds were minus 575. So I did not like that. I would rather take Tatum for 25 points at minus 340 rather than Brown 20 points at minus 575. So I'm cutting my odds almost in half by about 40% by someone who's clearing the number a lot easier. So I threw Brown out. I went with Tatum. And then coming down here, I see this Marcus Smart assist. If you wanted to add an assist, you could take over 5.5 and add it in there. He's got 8, 10, 7, 8, and 6 over the last 5. So these are things that jump out at me. So when I see this, I just want to look at minutes. And he's on the floor 30-plus minutes. Each of these games projected the same amount of minutes. So his assist is where I would attack if you're going to do like a Marcus Smart. And if you're looking at someone like this for assist, he's got Tatum and Brown to dish it off to and pick up an assist. So that's an excellent opportunity for a Marcus Smart assist play. So if you wanted to add that, you could and drive it up a little bit. But let's go over here and take a look at the Houston side. So there's 2 main scorers. You have Green, and then you have Kevin Porter. One of these guys is usually going to go off every night. They're the top 2 scorers. Now, over here you see the -1 and the +7. So I lean over here to Porter. He's got 36, then 14, then 31, then 15. So he's a little bit, he's kind of like this. Down, up, down, up. So he's kind of all over the place. So for Porter, I was trying to decide if I wanted to go for a max play. So his max is 22 or more points, and it pays +180. So he's 2-2 on that, but what I love about it is when he goes over, I mean, he damn near doubles it. He's getting about 40% higher here, so 36, 31. He's going way over that 22. So you know if you're going to win that one usually by halftime. But for the sakes of our parlay, I just put in 14 or more points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then he missed it here. So he's 6-1 on that over the last 7 games. So we put that in there with Tatum. And then we went over to Jalen Green. And you can see 24, 23, 21, a little bit more consistent. He's usually in the 20s with a couple off games. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to do his minimum, which was 15 or more points. And he's done that in 6 of the last 7 games. And then those 3, Porter to score 14 or more, Jalen 15 or more, with Tatum 25 or more. That got us to minus 110. So that wasn't too bad. That felt pretty safe. But one of the things that jumped out on me that I wanted to add to this, let me blow this up and then let me look at my parlay and see. Can't remember if I added this or it was after I took my notes. So I'm going to check real quick. Okay, so I did add it. So this is going to take it from minus 110 to plus 165. So this guy showed up on the sheet. And here, let me show you if you're playing DFS or anything. We go over here, we label our players, and he showed up as a mini diamond play for us here. Now, what I've been doing is I redid our GPP algo, and then I'll go down here and look at the green guys, the green salary coded guys. Those are the ones I've been kind of watching and tracking. Well, the second one that comes up was Sengun, or however you say his name, and he came up as a mini diamond play, so he's someone I wanted to look at in the prop tool. So when we get up here and we look at this, let me blow this up a little bit more. I love the green. Green. Now, rebounds, he's just kind of up and down. He's got 4 and then a high at 12. As assists, he's pretty consistent with. And you could attack him several different ways. Now, I like 32, 27, 32, and then 29. And then we have some low, mid-20 games. So this game, he didn't really play many minutes, but the other 6 games, he's got 24 or more minutes. He's projected at 28, so that's pretty consistent. You could attack this. His points, rebounds, and assist looks good. The assist numbers look good. Look at his points. He's been pretty solid for the most part. He's even rebounding a lot, so he's someone we could take a look at. Now, to give you an idea, if you want to just attack his assist, because he's got 2 main scorers on the team, you can take over 1.5. Well, he's got 6, 7, 6, and 3, 2, and 2, and he missed this one. This was a 0. So he's been well over that, and add that to your parlay. And that would drive it up to plus 140 if you took over 1.5 assist or 2+ as it's listed on DK. However, I really like his points. He's projected at 13, but he's averaging almost 19.8 points per game, so almost 20. And he's eclipsed 19 in 3 of the last 4 games. So I wanted to do points plus assists. So here, this would be 31, 26, 19, 25. So he's been over that. So for the sakes of our parlay, we are going to do Sengun, or however you say his name, points plus assist over 13.5. That feels pretty safe based on the numbers we're looking at. He's getting that basically by points and assist. And if you take over 13.5, that generates this to plus 165 for this leg, which is pretty solid. And if you want to max it, you can do 20 plus at plus 235. So he's been over that here, missed it by 1, over. So he's been over that in 3 of the last 4. 18 plus is plus 130, 20 or more is plus 235. So I like hitting him. He's one of our mini diamond plays. He's been doing really well lately. So that's someone to go ahead and take a look at. So just to recap the parlay that we do have, we have LeBron 25 plus, Franz Wagner 16 plus, Austin Reeves 9 plus, Banchero 15 plus, that's plus 190. And then our 76ers leg is Embiid 20 or more, Bradley Beal 20 or more, minus 215. Or you could go in and add Harden assist to that. We looked at that as well. And you could even bump Embiid to 25 points if you want to get a little bit more payout on it. And then for the Rockets-Celtics side, we did Porter 14 or more, Jalen Green 15 or more. They're the 2 top scorers on that team. And then we took Sengun points and assist over 14. And then we just took a safe Tatum 25 or more points. Those three legs right now are plus 1,025. So basically 10 to 1, 10.25 to 1. So if you put a half a unit on this, it'll pay out 5 units. If you put 1 unit, it'll pay out 10 units. If you put 2 units, it'll pay out 20.5 units. So this is the first parlay that I like, but I'm going to go through all 10 games, but for the sakes of this video, we're already at 25 minutes, and that was just 3 games. So the main thing I want you to understand is just the process, how to look through and find these nuggets. There are several days where I don't have time to play, but I want to teach you guys how to use the sheet, how to dig through it, find these nuggets, and build your own plays and find your own price picks. If you are on price picks, we do have the price picks tab here where you can flip through here, and let me slide this over, and you can see, you know, the most recent game logs. Green, it's over. Red, it's under. You can sort this by streak, hit percentage last 5, hit percentage last 10. You can see the last 7 average versus the price pick line, and you can see the current projection, which I don't like, but you guys do, so we left it in there as well. I always sort it by the streak, so here you can see Tatum points 29.5, and he's been over that in 5 straight games. So just another little nugget for you, and I hope you guys like this video. Good luck.